At our wedding, my husband's best friend raised his glass and said, he only settled for her after losing the one he really loved. The room fell into an awkward silence. I smiled, got up, and said, then he's free to go find her because I'm out. My husband's face turned ghost white when the reception hall at the Hazelton Hotel was filled with laughter, the glow of chandeliers reflecting off crystal glasses and expensive floral centerpieces. The wedding had been beautiful, at least, that's what I thought. Then, Mark, my husband's best friend and best man, stood up for his toast. His voice carried through the room with an ease that came from too many drinks and too little self-awareness. To Daniel and Emily, a couple we all love. But let's be honest, we know Danny here settled. I mean, after losing his first love, well, let's just say, Emily was the next best thing. Silence. A thick, suffocating silence. I heard a few uncomfortable coughs. Someone gasped. My mother clutched my arm so hard her nails dug into my skin. The air felt heavy, like everyone was waiting to see how I would react. I looked at Daniel, my brand new husband. His face had gone pale, his eyes darting around the room like a man trapped. He didn't deny it, he didn't even look at me. I smiled, a slow, deliberate smile. I picked up my champagne flute, stood up, and clinked my knife against the glass. Every single person turned toward me. Well, I said, my voice light, controlled. He can go find her, because I'm done. Gasps. More silence. Someone at the back whispered, no way. Daniel finally snapped out of his frozen state. Emily, wait. That's not. I set my glass down, removed my wedding ring, placed it on the table next to his plate. Congratulations, everyone. Enjoy the party. I won't be needing this anymore. And then I walked out, leaving my wedding behind, leaving him behind. I walked straight out of the reception hall, past the bewildered guests and the stunned silence, out into the cold Toronto night. The city lights flickered around me, but all I could hear was the blood pounding in my ears. My wedding dress, an overpriced custom-made gown, dragged along the pavement as I headed toward the curb. My phone buzzed relentlessly in my clutch. Daniel, my mother, my maid of honor, Lisa. I ignored them all. Instead, I texted Brian, my brother, me, come get me. Now, 5 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up outside the Hazelton. Brian, dressed in jeans and a leather jacket, took one look at me, the wedding dress, the clenched jaw, the fury in my eyes, and said, what the FCK did he do? I didn't cry. I didn't break down. Instead, I let out a cold laugh. He settled for me after losing his first love. Ryan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That fucking bastard. We drove in silence. I stared out the window, watching the streets blur past. The weight of what had just happened settled in my chest like a heavy stone. Less than an hour ago, I had been someone's wife. Now, I was nothing more than an afterthought to the man I had promised my life to. Back at Ryan's condo, I peeled off my wedding dress and threw it into a heap on the floor. The sight of it made my stomach churn. I grabbed one of Ryan's hoodies, pulled it over my head, and finally let myself feel the rage burning inside me. My phone buzzed again. Daniel. I answered, but I didn't speak. His voice was frantic. Emily, please. That's not what I meant. Mark was drunk. He was just talking out of his bottom. You know I love you. I let the silence stretch. Then, calmly, I said, who is she? A pause, a hesitation. That was all the confirmation I needed. I hung up. Ryan, who had been watching from the kitchen, crossed his arms. You're not just going to let this go, are you? I turned to him, a slow, cold smile spreading across my face. Oh, I'm going to do much worse, because Daniel didn't just lose me tonight. The morning after the wedding, that wasn't. I woke up in Ryan's guest room to the sound of my phone vibrating non-stop. Missed calls, unread messages, and social media notifications flooded my screen. Daniel. 17 missed calls. Mom. 5 missed calls. 2 voicemails. Lisa. 3 texts. 1 voicemail. I ignored all of them. Instead, I opened Instagram. My wedding photos, ones I hadn't even seen yet, were already circulating. The caption from the wedding planner's page read, A magical evening celebrating the love between Emily and Daniel, wishing them a lifetime of happiness. I laughed bitterly. Happiness? What a joke. I scrolled through the comments. OMG, what happened? Why did the bride leave? Someone at the wedding said she walked out after the toast. Spilled the tea. Wait, did the groom cheat? The speculation had already begun. Ryan walked in, tossing a coffee onto the nightstand. You're trending. I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. He held up his phone, showing me a Twitter thread. At Toronto Gossip. Insane drama at a high-profile Toronto wedding last night. Bride walked out after the best man exposed something huge in his toast. Sources say the groom's face went white as a ghost. Eyes hat beverage #wedding fail #messy af thousands of likes, hundreds of replies. People were already picking apart my personal nightmare, like it was entertainment. Ryan smirked. People love a good revenge story. Give them one. I sipped my coffee, my mind racing. The old me, the naive, forgiving me, might have let this blow over, but after last night, after hearing that hesitation in Daniel's voice when I asked him who she was, Daniel wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone I loved. Fine. I was about to return the favor. 10 times worse. But first, I needed answers. I dialed Lisa, my best friend and maid of honor. She answered on the first ring. Oh my God. Emily, are you okay? Not really, but I need to know something. She hesitated. Anything. Who was she? Lisa, the woman Daniel lost before he settled for me. Lisa went quiet. Too quiet. Lisa, I pressed. Finally, she exhaled. Her name is Sophie. I froze. Sophie, his ex, the one he dated before me, the one he never talked about, only mentioning her in passing like she was just a chapter in his past. Are they still in contact? I asked, my voice surly calm. Lisa hesitated. I don't know, but I can find out. I clenched my fists. Do that. Because if Daniel thought he could lie his way out of this, he was about to learn exactly what kind of woman he underestimated. Lisa called me back 2 hours later. I found her, she said without preamble. Sophie. I sat up on Ryan's couch, gripping my coffee mug so tightly my knuckles turned white. Where? She still lives in Toronto, works at a marketing firm downtown. And Emily, Daniel's been seeing her. A cold, sharp rage sliced through me. What do you mean, seeing her? Lisa sighed. I mean, they've been meeting up. I asked around, and a friend of a friend saw them having dinner last month. Just the two of them. Cozy, intimate. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to stay calm. So he's been cheating. Maybe not physically, Lisa said carefully, but emotionally, absolutely. I breathed in deeply, exhaled slowly. My mind was already spinning, putting the pieces together. If Daniel had been seeing Sophie behind my back, then his hesitation on the phone last night made perfect sense. He never let her go, and he never planned to. I stood up, pacing the living room. He made a fool out of me in front of everyone I know. He wasted my time. He took my love and treated it like a consolation prize. Ryan, who had been sitting silently across the room, finally spoke up. So what's the move? I turned to face him. My brother, my ride or die, the only person I could trust completely, watched me with a knowing smirk. I want to destroy him, I said, my voice steady. I want him to feel what it's like to lose everything, his reputation, his career, his dignity, everything. Lisa hesitated. Emily, are you sure? Absolutely. I grabbed my phone and started typing. Daniel had the benefit of silence, but I had the power of social media. If people were already speculating about what happened, I was going to confirm it, on my terms. I opened Instagram and drafted a story. To everyone who has been asking what happened at my wedding last night, thank you for your concern. The truth is, I found out something devastating. I was never his first choice. I was just the person he settled for after losing someone else. But I refused to be anyone's second best, so I walked away. I will not be answering questions, but know this, I am done with him, and I am moving on. I hit post. Within minutes, my phone started blowing up. Daniel's entire identity was built around his image, his job, his connections, his standing in our social circle. He was the golden boy, the man who had it all. But what would happen if people found out that the perfect fiancé tilde copyright, the charming husband-to-be, was actually a liar who had been pining for another woman the entire time. I turned to Lisa. I need proof. Screenshots, messages, photos, anything that shows he was still in contact with Sophie. Lisa nodded. I'll see what I can find. Ryan leaned forward. And what if we take it a step further? I raised an eyebrow. Go on. What if we ruin him where it really hurts? Ryan grinned. His job. Oh, I smiled. Tell me everything. 2 days after the wedding, Daniel finally worked up the nerve to come see me. I had been expecting it. He showed up at Ryan's condo, knocking like a man desperate to salvage whatever was left. I watched from the window as he shifted nervously on the doorstep, his hair disheveled, his suit wrinkled like he hadn't slept. Good. He deserved to feel like SHD. Ryan shot me a look from the couch. You want me to handle this? I shook my head. Number. I want to see his face when he realizes exactly how bad he f'd up. I opened the door. Daniel's eyes were frantic as they met mine. Emily, thank God. He tried to step inside, but I blocked him. What do you want, Daniel? I asked, my voice cold. Come on, Em. We need to talk. I folded my arms, staring at him like he was nothing more than a stain on the pavement. Talk? You mean like how you never told me you were still in contact with Sophie? His face twitched. It's not what you think. Oh, so you weren't having secret dinners with your ex while I was planning our wedding? Daniel paled. Lisa told you. Of course she did. I snapped. Because unlike you, my best friend actually gives a damn about me. He exhaled sharply, reaching a hand through his hair. Emily, please. I never cheated on you. Sophie and I, we were just talking. I let out a cold laugh. Right? Just talking, behind my back, while you were supposed to be building a life with me. And yet, your best man still felt confident enough to announce to our entire wedding that you settled for me. So tell me, Daniel, was he lying? Silence. That same hesitation. That same damn pause. That's what I thought. I said quietly. You never loved me the way I loved you. And the worst part, you didn't even have the decency to admit it. Danielle swallowed hard. I do love you, Em. Sophie was a huge part of my life. And when she left, I was devastated, heartbroken. And then you found me, the safe option, the one who would never leave. His silence was all the confirmation I needed. I took a deep breath, steadying the fury burning in my chest. You know what, Daniel? I actually feel sorry for you. Because while I move on and rebuild my life, you'll always be the man who had everything and lost it because he was too much of a coward to appreciate it. Daniel's eyes filled with panic. Emily, please, just give me a chance to fix this. I smiled. Oh, Daniel, I already fixed it. His brows furrowed. What? My phone dinged. Right on time. I turned the screen toward him. An email notification from his company. Dear Mr. Carter, we regret to inform you that due to recent events damaging the company's reputation, we are terminating your contract effective immediately. Daniel's face drained of all color. What the FCK is this? I tilted my head. Oh, didn't I mention? I sent screenshots of your little meetings with Sophie to your boss. Apparently, your company doesn't appreciate their senior execs being involved in public scandals. He staggered back like I had slapped him. Emily, number. My job is gone, I said smoothly. Just like our marriage. Just like your reputation. Daniel looked at me, pure horror in his expression. You ruined me. I leaned in, voiced like ice. No, Daniel, you ruined yourself. And with that, I slammed the door in his face. Daniel didn't leave right away. I stood by the window, watching as he staggered back from the door, running a shaking hand through his hair. He pulled out his phone, probably calling his boss, probably trying to fix the mess he had made. But there was no fixing this. Ryan sat on the couch, watching me with a smirk. Damn sis, remind me never to piss you off. I exhaled slowly, my pulse still racing. It's not over yet. Because while Daniel was just now realizing the professional fallout of his actions, there was still the personal side of things. And I wasn't the only person he had betrayed. I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram. My post had already gone viral. People I barely knew had flooded my DMs with messages of support, screenshots of Daniel's old posts about me, and most interestingly, messages about Sophie. And then, one particular DM caught my eye. Sophie. Hey, Emily, I think we need to talk. I froze. Ryan leaned over my shoulder. OSHD, is that her? I nodded. After a moment, I typed back, name a time and place. 5 minutes later, she responded, Café Belong, 3 p.m. No drama, just the truth. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. I had spent so much time seeing Sophie as the ghost in my relationship, the shadow of the woman I had been unknowingly competing with, and now, I was about to come face to face with her. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You sure about this? I need to know everything. At exactly 3 p.m., I walked into Café Belong at the Evergreen Brickworks. It was a quiet, cozy spot, far removed from the chaos of downtown Toronto. Sophie was already there, sitting by the window, stirring her coffee, absent-mindedly. She looked up when I approached. For a moment, we just stared at each other. She was beautiful, of course, the kind of effortless beauty that made sense for someone who had haunted my relationship like an unspoken curse. But she also looked tired, as if this entire situation had worn her down just as much as it had me. Emily, she said softly. I sat down. Let's skip the fake niceties. Why did you want to meet? She sighed. Because you deserve to know the truth. About Daniel, about me, about everything. I clenched my fists under the table. So tell me. Sophie took a deep breath. Daniel and I dated for 3 years. He was intense, charming, and he loved me. But he also had this need to win, to prove himself. And when I left for a job opportunity in Vancouver, he didn't fight for me. He just let me go. I frowned. So why did he never let you go emotionally? She gave a sad smile. Because I left him, not the other way around. And Daniel, he doesn't handle rejection well. He always has to be the one in control. A cold chill ran through me. So when I came along, Sophie nodded. You were everything he needed to prove to himself that he was fine, that he could move on, that he was still the man who could have a perfect love story. I swallowed hard. But he wasn't over you. No, Sophie admitted. And the worst part, I didn't even know he was still so fixated on me until a few months ago, when he started reaching out, asking to meet. At first, I thought it was harmless, but then, she hesitated. I leaned forward. Then what? Sophie bit her lip. Then he told me he wasn't sure if he was making the right decision by marrying you. My stomach dropped. I had suspected it, but hearing it from her, in plain words, it hit differently. So that's why Mark said what he did at the wedding, I murmured. Sophie's brows furrowed. What? I let out a bitter laugh. You mean you don't know? I quickly pulled up the viral clip of Mark's wedding toast on Twitter and slid my phone across the table. Sophie watched it, her expression shifting from confusion to pure shock. When she looked back at me, her face had gone pale. Oh yes, HD. Yeah, I exhaled. Your name wasn't mentioned. But let's be real, you were the first love Mark was talking about. Sophie looked sick. I had no idea. I swear. Emily, I never wanted to be involved in this mess. If I had known how deep his obsession ran, I would have shut it down the second he reached out to me. I studied her. I had spent so long resenting this woman, seeing her as the villain in my relationship. But now, she just looked like someone who had also been manipulated by Daniel's selfishness. For the first time, I felt something I never expected. Pity. Sophie took a shaky breath. So what are you going to do now? I smiled. A slow, cold smile. Oh, I already did it. I pulled up my Instagram story and showed her the latest update I had just posted while we were talking. A simple screenshot of Daniel's termination email, with the caption, Poetic Justice. Sophie's eyes widened. Oh yes, HD. You really went for the kill. Huh? I sipped my coffee, my heart finally feeling light for the first time in days. Oh, sweetheart, I said, my voice dripping with satisfaction. I'm just getting started. By the time I got back to Ryan's condo, the chaos had fully erupted. My phone was blowing up, texts, missed calls, social media notifications. Daniel was trying to control the damage. Too bad for him. I had already won. I scrolled through Instagram, watching as the pieces of his life fell apart in real time. First, there was the job loss. After my post about Daniel's termination went viral, people started digging. His company, a high-end marketing firm, but a reputation to protect. Clients didn't want to be associated with an executive who had publicly humiliated his wife. The board of directors made a swift decision. Daniel was out. Then came the social fallout. His friends, our mutual friends, were turning on him. I checked Facebook and saw a thread from someone in our circle. I always thought Daniel and Emily were the perfect couple. Hearing what he did makes me sick. Imagine wasting someone's time like that. The comments were brutal. She dodged a bullet. What a trash excuse for a husband. Dude had his whole life set up and still fumbled it. Oh no. I was at that wedding. The second-hand embarrassment was real. Lisa texted me. Lisa, Mark is getting ripped apart too. People are calling him out for being a shitty best man. He tried to defend Daniel, but now he just looks like an idiot. I smirked. Good. The best part, Sophie finally spoke up. I refreshed my feed and saw her newest post. It was a picture of her and me, together at the cafe, sipping coffee. The caption, "Women owe each other the truth." Too bad Daniel never learned that. Wishing Emily the best. She deserves better. The internet lost its mind. Daniel had officially lost everything. A flood of messages started coming in, some from old friends, some from complete strangers who had seen the story play out online. But then, one specific message caught my attention. Unknown number. You think this is funny? You ruined my fucking life, Daniel. I stared at the screen for a long moment before responding. Me. No, Daniel, you ruined your own life. I just made sure everyone knew about it. I hit send, then blocked his number. Ryan, watching from across the room, let out a low whistle. Damn, that's some next-level destruction. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight finally lift off my shoulders. He deserved worse, I murmured. Ryan chuckled. And yet, somehow, I think you're still not done. He wasn't wrong, because while Daniel was sitting in the wreckage of his own downfall, a week after Daniel's life went up in flames, I booked a flight to Paris. Not because I was running away. No, this was a celebration. I had spent too much time bending over backward for a man who never saw me as enough. I had built my life around him, planned my future around him, only to find out I was nothing more than a second choice. That was over. Now, every decision I made would be for me. Lisa and I toasted champagne at Pearson Airport before I boarded. To reinvention, she said, clinking her glass against mine. I smirked. To better man. She laughed. HLL yes. And by the way, Daniel, he's leaving Toronto. I arched an eyebrow. His company blacklisted him. He tried getting a job with a competitor, but after everything that came out, no one wants to touch him. He's moving back to Calgary to rebuild his life. She rolled her eyes. Guess he finally knows what it's like to lose something important. I took a sip of my drink, letting the warmth of victory settle in my chest. Daniel could run. He could try to rebuild, but he would never outrun the truth. As I boarded the plane, I glanced down at my phone. My final message to him still sat in our blocked texts. You should have been honest. You should have let me go. But now, you get to live with the consequences. I smiled to myself. This wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the beginning of something much better. For the first time in years, I was exactly where I was meant to be. And this time, I was choosing me.